morning. My name is Nora Mulligan, and I am your worship associate this morning. Please rise in body and/or spirit and join in singing hymn number 221 in your gray hymnal. Thank you.
Good morning. Good morning. My name is April Strittmater, and I am a member of the Board of Trustees of the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Hudson Valley. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Hudson Valley. Whether you have been with this congregation a decade or more, or this is the first time visiting, we welcome you. Whatever the faith and traditions of your past, we welcome you. Whatever your theological stance, we welcome you. Whoever you are and whomever you love, we welcome you. Whatever your heritage, we welcome you. We respectfully acknowledge the territory on which our church building sits as the ancestral homelands of the Munsee, Lenape, and Wappinger people. For the most up-to-date information on these topics and others, please refer to our weekly e-news and check our website frequently. And please join us for conversation after the service. I skipped the announcements, so I'm going to pivot back to the announcements. We have our first announcement this morning is our in-person coffee hour after the Sunday service has helped to deepen our connections, but we need more hands on deck. The membership committee has decided to reinstitute the hospitality team system that was in place before COVID, where all active members are assigned a team and a month to help make the coffee hour the best it can be. Please be on the lookout in early January for an email refreshing our memories on how the system works. Sherry Brown is always available to answer any questions you may have in the meantime. Announcement number 2, Kathy Williams is selling grocery cards. So please see her during coffee hour if you would like to purchase a grocery card. Now I'm going to pivot back to the script. If you're present in the sanctuary, please come to sorry guys. If you're present in the sanctuary, please join us in the fellowship hall after service. If you're watching the live stream, the link for our Zoom coffee hour can be found in the Saturday reminder in your email. If you are just recently joining us and would like to receive our weekly e-news, please email us at uucroton@gmail.com with your name, and we will make sure you are added to our e-news list. Also, please remember to silence your cell phones at this time. Once again, we welcome you to the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of the Hudson Valley.
Thank you so much. Our invocation today comes from Rabbi David Wolpe, because today is a special day. It is the beginning of Hanukkah. Rabbi Wolpe says, Hanukkah commemorates a battle won despite astonishing odds by the Maccabees against the monarch Antiochus. At that time, the Maccabees, they found a call to rededicate the temple, which had been defiled and used as a garbage dump by their conquerors. The Maccabees rededicated, cleaned out, and prepared the temple, and by a miracle, a cruse of oil that should have lasted 1 day lasted 8. Hanukkah is the holiday of rededication. Rabbi Wolpe continues, I have known many people, Holocaust survivors, refugees who fled oppression, people plagued with illness, and others who life has dealt very cruel blows. Some of them lost everything and had to begin again. But despite so many reasons to despair, in a crucial turn towards the future, resilient spirits choose renewed hope and rededicated themselves to purposeful living. That Hanukkah moment, that dedication moment, that rededication moment, is the inspiration we all need. Today, we will ring our bell 8 times for the 8 ethical principles of our faith. But we will also ring our bell 8 times in honor of that cruse of oil that should have lasted 1 day, but lasted 8. I invite the children in the congregation to join our religious exploration director, Jane Podell, and ring our bell 8 times for our principles and the 8 nights of Hanukkah.
Is that 16?
Good clarifier. Of our own miracle, and we are grateful for the passion. Thank you. We will look for our own miracle and ring the bells in our hearts. May it be so.
These chalice lighting words are from the Passover Haggadah. May the light we now kindle inspire us to use our powers to heal, and not to harm, to help and not to hinder, to bless and not to curse, to serve you, Spirit of freedom. Thank you. Now please join me in saying the unison affirmation. The words are in our order of service. Inspired by love, our mission is to seek our true nature, connect deeply and openly, and act for justice.
Our Hanukkah meditation is from a Unitarian Universalist college student, Jacqueline Kopp. And Jacqueline recounts both her journey from 4th grade, explaining what is Unitarian Universalism to her classmates, to a current reflection on embracing and. Her essay is titled, "There's Room to Be Jewish and UU, Embracing and." You have to pick one. Sarah stared blankly at me across the aisle of our school bus. The school bus lurched to a stop before continuing on its predetermined track to let us off one by one into our weekends. "No, I don't," my 4th grade self said insistently, already tired of what felt like round 3 of this conversation. "People can celebrate whatever holidays they want," Sarah continued, "but that doesn't make any sense. Either you go to church and you celebrate Christmas, or you go to synagogue and you celebrate Hanukkah. You can't do both. You have to pick one, Jacqueline." I paused to consider these options and wish she offered C, none of the above, or D, all of the above. "What about celebrating Hanukkah at church?" I asked. Jacqueline writes, "As with so many Unitarian Universalists, my religious journey began with a question. But in my case, not my own, but my parents'. Coming from 2 very different traditions, they sought a religious home where they could raise a family, one that appreciated their diverse heritage and provided room for us, their children, to follow their own spiritual quests. My parents finally found their home at the Unitarian Universalist Congregation of Atlanta one Sunday in December, where the service began with a recognition of 3 symbolic sources of light: the chalice, an Advent wreath, and a menorah. My parents knew they had discovered their common faith, our common faith. My mother, in particular, remembers being filled that morning with a feeling of acceptance for the universal beauty and significance of Jewish traditions, which she wove into our whole family life. While the question, "What are you?" came perhaps from the well-intentioned curiosity of my friends at school, at times it felt like a challenge to the legitimacy of my multi-faith tradition. Jewish friends would ask, "Why do you even care about Yom Kippur?" Christian friends seemed genuinely puzzled by the menorah that was next to our Christmas tree, or the Star of David and carved wooden chalices that we hung as ornaments on Christmas tree branches. Yet while many people told me and my parents that this combination of Judaism and Unitarian Universalism didn't make sense, many other people encouraged me to embrace and. I included Hebrew in my coming-of-age credo statement, a UU tradition where youth share deeply in worship services about their personal beliefs and spiritual call. I figured out how to use yeast and started making homemade raisin challah. I ate peanut butter, matzah, and jelly sandwiches, and I raced my friends in reading prayers during the Passover Seder held on our college campus. Away from where I grew up, in the town that has become my new home, I attend High Holy Day services each year at the local synagogue. "Are you Jewish?" some of my fellow worshipers have asked. "Yes and no," I answer with pride. "I'm a Jewish Unitarian Universalist." And with that celebration of so many traditions in one space, let us enjoy this beautiful choral piece. It is a tradition in this congregation in December to collect mittens, socks, clothes for those in need. There are so many needs this year, particularly with so many families struggling. So today, we are starting a collection for socks and mittens. Some of you have them to put in these baskets, and our youth will put them on the famed mitten tree of UU Hudson Valley and Fellowship Hall. From there, they will be distributed in the wider community. Thank you.
psalms of victory till the heart takes fire. The Maccabean spirit leap, newborn. Remember how from wintry dawn till night, such songs were sung in Zion, when again on the high altar flamed the sacred light. They who had camped within the mountain pass, couched on the rock and tented neath the sky, who saw from Mitzpah's heights the tangled grass choke the wild temple courts, the altar lie disfigured and polluted, who had flung their faces on the stones and mourned aloud and rent their garments and wailing with one tongue, crushed as a windswept bed of reeds is bowed. Even they, by one voice fired, one heart aflame, though broken reeds had risen. They rushed upon the spoiler and overcame. Each arm for freedom had the strength of 10. Now is their mourning into dancing turned, their sackcloth doffed for garments of delight. Week long the festive torches shall be burned, music and revelry wed day with night. Still ours, the dance, the feast, the glorious song, the mystic lights of emblem and the word. Clash, Israel, the cymbals, touch the lyre. Sound the brass trumpet and the harsh-tongued horn. Chant hymns of victory till the heart take fire. The Maccabean spirit leap, newborn.
Now is the time in our service for a moment of pause, a moment of meditation, a moment of prayer. This morning, as we are surrounded by changing weather, its voices, familiar and new, share the same space as sounds, ancient and modern, dance together. We are in awe before all that is. We're invited this morning to consider our space in a growing edge, unfolding and unknown. We encounter each other today as we are, with all our stories that have brought us to this moment. The next story is unwritten, but now, in this space, we are here. And whether we are in this sanctuary or joining from somewhere else, now in this moment we are connected. Spirit of life and love, bigger than the universe and smaller than a grain of sand, connect us with hope this season and give us the imagination to look for that next miracle and perhaps to be that next miracle and to receive that next miracle now and in the days to come. Amen. Would you join in singing number 391 in our gray hymnal, Voice Still and Small? Light one candle. In rabbinic ethical teachings, it said you have to know where you have come from in order to know what your legacy will be. I was humbled to be able to attend Central Synagogue on Friday night as part of a national effort to invite different religious leaders to attend services to shine a light this Hanukkah season, to shine a light on anti-Semitism, to shine a light on possibility and hope. And I was blown away by the Shabbat service. At just the voices, the reflection was offered by an imam who's a good friend of Central Synagogue. And to me, so many people in a room participating in ancient prayers, singing songs, reflecting rituals to honor those who had passed away in the last month, in the last year. It was deeply humbling. And it invited me into deeper reflection on our beautiful connection as Unitarian Universalists with the awesome and unfolding Jewish tradition. As our opening hymn reminds us, light one candle for the Maccabee children with thanks that their lights didn't die. Light one candle for the pain they endured when their right to exist was denied. Light one candle for the terrible sacrifice justice and freedom demand. And light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand. My friend Joanne talks about Hanukkah is beautiful, and Hanukkah is complicated, and Hanukkah is ever-changing as a festival. The writer Shoshana Cordova says that literally in Hebrew, the word Hanukkah comes from dedication or consecration or inauguration. So just as in our poem today, it's often known as the Festival of Lights, but literally it's the Festival of Dedication, honoring the rededication of the temple after it was defiled. But it has a personal engagement too. It talks about the story of continuity. It's not just the originating event, as inspiring and challenging and wrought that is, the successful military uprising against a repressive monarchy, the upstart victory. It's also the latter commentary and stories that have developed around this tradition. Roman-era rabbinic commentators emphasize mystery and wonder, not military prowess. In fact, in one of the prayers in Zechariah, it says, "Not by power and not by might, but by my spirit." That ancient prayer is used in the rituals. However grand or poignant, the choice to light the candle is seen as a gateway for a miracle. And tonight, all over the world at dusk, diverse Jewish families, interfaith Jewish families, Orthodox Jewish families, Reformed Jewish families, Unitarian Universalist Jewish families will light a candle and return to mark the time of this festival of lights and sacred dedication. And the fact that in 2022 we are in a building that once was a Methodist church with a menorah says something about change over time. I know the Methodists who worshiped here in 1928 would probably be shocked by many things we do, but even liturgically, just what is happening in this space. But even in our own Unitarian Universalist tradition, you know I love this World War II hymn book. This is a Unitarian hymn book from World War II. There is no Hanukkah ritual in this. There's no Hanukkah ritual in this. And it came about because of unexpected, unplanned, creative partnership. In a beautiful book, Susan Ritchie talks about the relationship of Unitarians and Judaism over time and Islamic traditions. And it's called Children of the Same God. And in a beautiful chapter, she zeroes in on the 19th century because we had a missed opportunity. Many Unitarian ministers after the Civil War were committed to creating a vibrant, beautiful form of Christmas. A lot of our hymns come from that time, the emphasis on humanitarianism and charity. So much of this is tied to the Unitarian push for a humanitarian Christmas. This was part of our belief in deeds, not creeds, and that we are called to love and serve the good. And so very organically, many partnerships, even friendships, developed between Reform rabbis and Unitarian ministers at this time. But the communities remained distinct, and there was not a large-scale cross-pollination of rituals or even sharing commentary. And one of the barriers, sad to say, was on our end, because many American Unitarian ministers were convinced that yes, truth could be found in many traditions, and we were also certain that most of the truth was found in our own, and our own rituals, and our own practices. And Rabbi Isaac Wise, who is a preeminent leader in the Reformed Jewish movement, was particularly heartbroken that among some of his Unitarian colleagues, even the most secular, they weren't really that interested to learn from the Jewish tradition. They weren't interested in Jewish rituals. They weren't interested in Jewish commentary. He often encountered an expectation that he should become more Protestant to be fully welcome. And so that 19th century chance of collaboration came and went. But after World War II, something new happened. In this country, something unplanned. And part of it was that many people fell in love. Veterans and civilians after the war, across religious traditions, started to form interfaith families. And they asked their established institutions, both Jewish and Christian, how can we fit in? And that change in our faith, why our hymn book now has rituals from many traditions, is in part because of the love of families and the questions of seekers from multiple traditions to try to open the doors. That transformation was not planned. It wasn't sought by the official clergy in either tradition, but it invited an opportunity, still evolving, still diverse in multiple traditions, to think about how can we imagine creative partnership. Here in New York State alone, in the aftermath of that terrible war, that violent, hateful war, across Long Island and here in Westchester, nearly 20 new Unitarian Universalist congregations were created. And if you go to a little town, South Suffolk on Long Island, there is a small Unitarian Universalist society in a chapel even a little smaller than this space, with beautiful stained glass windows. And in each there's an icon of different religious traditions. And one of the elders in that congregation, she's nearly 100 years old, and she fled Berlin as a child after Kristallnacht. She was very lucky, and she'll say how lucky she was to be able to escape at that point, because it was so hard to leave and enter the US because of immigration, xenophobia, and anti-Semitism. She talked to me about how she lived in a tight, cramped apartment in the Upper West Side with other refugee families in the 40s. She speaks with pride about growing up in Queens and moving to own a home in Long Island. She was proud to have worked as a teacher for decades, affirming life and possibility despite every reason in the world not to. So many of her family died because of who they were. But she has a great sense of humor. And she was telling me about one time I led a field trip on a naval ship with a group of elementary school kids. What was I thinking? She remembers Jewish elders, adopted uncles who did survive the camps, who she lovingly called the Germans, and how they lived to create a life of dignity, and how she wished she had asked them more questions. And on my guest preaching visits to this little congregation, I note that this woman always makes a point to visit with every individual in the coffee hour and ask about their stories and struggles. Even at nearly a century old, even after a life with infinite justifiable reasons to be suspicious of others. I was profoundly humbled to meet her. And she says she is proudly Jewish and proudly Unitarian Universalist. And she is one of many people in our tradition, in so many synagogues, in so many different relationships that live at the creative partnership at the growing edge. We are invited to learn from our elders in faith who choose life even when there are reasons not to. Reverend Elizabeth Lerner McClay is a Unitarian Universalist minister of Jewish and Catholic heritage. She writes, relationships are essential. They're sacred. Holy living, like the Torah, is for all. Yet Judaism also reminds me that mindfulness, even community united in mindfulness, is not the point. A truth that we Unitarian Universalists lose sight of when we seek to just be successful, just to cultivate mindfulness as an end in and of itself for our personal peace, wisdom, and calm. By living well and mindfully, Judaism invites us to consider we're called to make the world better. We bring transcendence into this life. We bring this world closer to what it should be. In other words, healthy spirituality is not only our personal mindfulness, as challenging and life-giving as that is. And healthy spirituality is not only mindfulness and community, as challenging and life-giving as that is. Healthy spirituality is mindfulness, personal and in community, tied to stories of the past, oriented and present with the current suffering of others, dedicated to the holy and restoration. It's an ongoing process that leads us out and in. Rabbi Noah Kushner, who is a dynamic, you should listen to her online, a contemporary rabbi in San Francisco, in particular notes that the power, the awe, the sparks from these moments of dedication are marked by candles, like those that'll be lit tonight. Candles that are small vessels, cruises of oil, the kind of vessels that once long ago gave us just enough hope to try to change everything in our world. Just enough hope to get us to the next miracle. We're called to dedicate the day and the night. We're called to dedicate the sanctuary of our lives. We're called to dedicate ourselves to a greater reality. We're called to dedicate ourselves to a world where the Jewish community is never again alone when faced with hatred and bigotry. We're called to dedicate ourselves to a world where any outsider, from gender expression to ethnic heritage, is never alone when faced with hatred and bigotry. We're called to dedicate ourselves to phone calls, notes, visits, companionship, and laughter, to mark the moments of our days as sacred. May your dedication, may your days of rededication get you to the next miracle. May our communal dedication bring us to the next miracle. As it said in rabbinic teaching, know from where you have come in order to know what your legacy will be. May it be so.
Each week, we make an offering from the bounty we are blessed to enjoy. We do this in a spirit of love and generosity, aware that we have benefited from those who have gone before, those who in their turn gave generously. Our offering goes to support the work of love and justice undertaken by this community. Today's offering will also be shared with Fred's Pantry in downtown Peekskill, New York, Fred's Pantry provides emergency food, health, and housing retention allowance assistance, to families and elders in northern Westchester. For more information, visit https://www.stpeterspeekskill.org/freds-food-pantry. Please refer to our e-newsletter or our website for more information. You can make your donation in several ways. If present in the sanctuary, you may give cash or a check in the offering plate as it comes by. You may also scan the QR code in your order of service. From your homes, you can make your donation via credit card or PayPal using the links provided in the e-newsletter. Please remember to give a little extra to compensate for the 3% surcharge. Or, if you prefer, you can always mail us a check. The offering will now be given and gratefully received. I can't top that. Please join me in the dedication of the offering. The words are in your order of service. May these gifts and the work of our hands and hearts give power to all we stand for as a community of faith. Next, Tim. Next, please rise in body or spirit as you're able for our final hymn, number 129, Let Love Continue Long. This is new, but we can do it.
This is new, and so we're going to play through it one time so you can hear it.
join me in extinguishing our candle. The words are found in your order of service. We extinguish this flame, but not the light of truth, the warmth of community, or the fire of commitment. These we carry in our hearts until we are together again.
May we look for miracles. May we be miracles. May we receive miracles. And on this festival of lights and dedication, may we be particularly attentive to sunset and dusk, because that is where around the world candles will be lit. This season will be marked, and we will be connected in time to stories ancient and stories that will follow us long after we are not here. As Emma Lazarus said, kindle the taper like the steadfast star. May we be steadfast stars. Amen.
America